Omicron. Falcon hates puns and thinks that they're all wrong. One's American and one is an Aussie. Talking about StarCraft 2 and the esports scene.
Hello, Falcon Paladin.
Hello, Sir Omicron. Happy podcast day.
How's it going?
Things are good. Just did a bunch of streaming there. I kind of feel like my camera's out of alignment for some reason.
It
yeah.
super is. This is why I asked you not to. Though I appreciate the raids, I have to be live for the raid, and we don't get to do like
calibration,
and that's the kind of thing that Discord likes to break on. So, poop. There we go. All fixed now.
Fair enough. Good.
Yeah.
Nailed. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just doing some Act 2 Clair Obscure Expedition 33 today. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah? How'd it go?
Yep.
Did you win
Went
lots?
pretty well.
Did you find any enemies you couldn't burn to the ground?
No. I beat a couple chromatic bosses, which are harder than usual. I beat a story progression boss in a couple, like 3 or 4 attempts. Yeah. It's just, basically all about parrying. If you can parry, like, 3/4 of the time, then I think any boss can be beat, for now, anyway. So, we'll see how much that continues.
Yeah. I mean, I look forward to tracking your progress.
Because there is progress happening.
There is, yeah.
Indeed.
Not a lot of exploration, which is unfortunate. I like exploration. You did start this playthrough being like, oh man, Deus Ex put me in an explorative mood, and then you miss bosses by not looking to the right.
That is true. I did miss some of them, yeah.
10 minutes ago, you missed a giant of a man standing next to a merry-go-round. You were just like, nope, can't see him.
Couldn't see him. Figured he was there once I freed the Ferris wheel, but nope.
Very funny.
Not the case. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know. I still think it's very weird that they killed off Gustav. That's like a bold choice for story. It's like he's your main character, and then you kill him off at the end of Act 1, and it's like, oh, okay, the stakes are high, right?
Sure, yeah.
But then they replaced him by like a clone of Gustav. Like, he's soft-spoken, he's got the same hair, he's got the same beard. Gustav didn't have like the white streaks in his hair, but other than that, man,
or the scar
if they were standing next,
yeah,
or the scar on his face. But like, if you put them next to each other, I'd be like,
You mean two guys from the same city kind of look like each other?
Yeah, did I say it's not realistic? No, I said it's a weird story choice to replace him with someone that looks the same.
I mean, they look similar. They don't look the same. I could pick them out of a lineup, right?
I don't know. Put you in a police station, Omicron. Which one of these men mugged you in the alley? And you'd be like, I don't know. Is he wearing a hat? And it's kind of hard to see.
I don't sound like that. Do the accent. Come on.
I can't do the accent. It's terrible. You know that.
I do. That's why I want you to do it. But right, I've heard this argument that he looks like Robert Pattinson. I don't think he looks like Robert Pattinson. I think he looks more like a slightly younger Jamie fucking Lannister, who's the actor I can't remember. He's just a bit more. I don't know.
Nikolai Calderso.
Yeah, something like that. I think he looks a bit more like that guy. If you gave him like longer hair, obviously, and he wasn't as old as Jaime Lannister was by the end of Game of Thrones.
Sure. I mean, he's got long hair in the show for a while. He's kept captive and like gets all pretty grungy there for a couple seasons. But Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. Yeah, that's it.
When he is trapped up in the Starks camp and he's covered in mud, he looks a lot like a Gustav.
There you go.
I'm just gonna say it.
That's fair. You can say it. I'll allow it. I don't see it, but you can say it.
I don't see Robert Pattinson, so.
You don't see Robert Pattinson. That is
Yeah.
so interesting. Everybody else sees Robert Pattinson.
I don't think so.
So that's actually okay. That's actually a difference because I think Gustav gives huge Robert Pattinson vibes, but Verso doesn't. I have not once looked at Verso and been like, ah, yes, Robert Pattinson is back. He looks different. So you know what? You're right. You have convinced me that they look different through reminding me that Gustav looked like Robert Pattinson when he was around.
Fair.
Well done.
Fair enough. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Jamie Lannister missing an arm. Gustav missing an arm.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is an excellent corresponding fact that has nothing to do with appearance, but yes.
I mean,
They do.
the appearance of how they look missing an arm. Yeah, I think it's kind of important. In the lineup, if I was looking for a guy missing an arm and I picked the guy not missing an arm, they'd throw me out.
Yes, that's true. But we're talking about facial features here. We're not talking about missing fingers or, oh, he doesn't have a kidney. It's like, oh, okay.
This guy's not from Sweden
Yeah, or that.
or wherever.
But again, it's more
Nicholas is from.
personality though. Even it's even like Verso's very soft spoken, and so's Gustav. They both do this thing where they end sentences with, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why do they both do that? It's so weird. And
Yeah.
you posted a thing where Charlie Cox voices Gustav in the game, the actor Charlie Cox. And if he voiced Verso as well, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Does
Just
he
bring the
voice
same guy in. He's all doing the same thing.
Does he voice Verso?
I mean, that would be. I mean, I guess it'd be a spoiler if they said that, right?
Yeah, nah. Oh. Voiced by Ben Starr.
Okay, so no.
No. What has Ben Starr done? Oh, he was Clive in Final Fantasy 16, the main character.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good part. That's a good job to have. Dang.
Yeah. He's done some movies and stuff, but nothing I've really heard of. Nothing that sticks out. Midsummer Murders.
Yeah, I don't know.
Quantum Break, the video game. Yikes.
Ooh, yeah, I remember that one. Not good, but I remember it.
Yeah. He was in Company of Heroes too. People like Company of Heroes.
True. Some positive reactions to that.
Tekken 8 as Clive from Final Fantasy. Okay.
Anywho.
He's in a game that came out or is coming out recently called Date Everything. I don't know if you've heard about this game.
Nope.
But basically, you get given a pair of glasses that let you communicate with inanimate objects and date them. So
Oh, yeah, of course.
you date everything in your house. Yeah, that's it.
That's the whole thing. The whole kit and caboodle. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun idea, I suppose. Kind of weird, but fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, also, I think it was Bovine that said that the voice actress that does English for Mael sounds like Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3, and he
And
was right.
Turns out it is. I fully
And now I
expected-
can't unhear it. Like, I couldn't hear it before, but now I'm like, ah, crap, it's Shadowheart.
Yep. Which is why you can't get rid of her from your party. She'll just pop right back up and be like, "Yeah, take the orb," you know.
Oh my, the artifact. Take the artifact. No, no, Shadowheart. I think we killed her. Didn't we kill her in that playthrough? Well, she kept like stalking us and being like, "You need this," and we're like, "No,
I think
combat."
I think we did.
I think we did. We killed her, and then the game was like, "The artifact has mysteriously teleported into your inventory."
Yeah, that is pretty much what happened. Yeah.
I don't think we. I don't know if we streamed that playthrough. Because I was looking through the Baldur's Gate playthrough that I did save,
Yeah.
and I think we have the artifact, like all the way through Act 1. So
Okay.
the second one we played is the one where we were messing around and trying to see if we could avoid progressing the story. The answer was no.
Which one is the one that I have on my channel then?
That might, I don't know. It could be the one. You could have the fun one.
They're both fun. Don't say it like that.
I mean, I don't know that I've laughed that hard and a lot of times in video games when the game was just like, here's the artifact. Fuck you. Stop trying to avoid it.
So I did not label these as playthrough 1 or playthrough 2. So
Right. Yeah, you'd have to like scroll in and see if the artifact is at all in anybody's inventory.
Yeah.
Before you get to the mountain pass or whatever.
I'm going to assume that this is our first playthrough.
Uh-huh. That would make sense.
Yeah.
That's what I saved as well. That's what I streamed. I'm not even sure if I streamed our second playthrough.
No, I don't think either of us did. I think we just
Yeah,
did it for fun.
which is the problem.
Yeah. We gotta stream more games, Falcon. That's the problem, yeah.
I gotta stream everything. Nothing can be not streamed.
Yeah, it looks like I'm talking to Shadowheart as in like camp.
She's like in the party. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yep. So that's definitely not it.
She's in her casual clothes. I'm like, well, that's the one where we were friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember laughing so hard when she just like appears on the mountain path and is like, "You guys, hey!"
Don't
and we're
leave
like,
without
"Oh
me.
my!" It's like, "Are you serious? Stop stalking us, Shadowheart."
Oh.
Anywho, she's in this game. She's in Expedition 33, and she's doing a good job.
Mm-hmm. And she's why we have story mode difficulty, apparently.
Yeah, well, Gamer Rant reported it, and I don't really trust Gamer Rant all that much as a source, but sure, it's a nice story. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like she did such a good job voice acting that the developers were like, all right, if you want an easy mode in our game, we'll put one in. Which is funny because both you and JLC are playing on easy mode, and you're like, there are bosses that just one-shot me. And I'm like, how is that easy mode?
Because
this?
There's like still areas in which you're not supposed to come back to for ages. Right? Like the Dark Shore I lured you into, where the bosses get like 1 million attacks before you get a turn. They're still really hard. Like, you can... If you mess up on a dodge or a parry once, you still just die. Right?
Okay. So story mode's like, if you follow the story, you're fine. But go off the beaten path and we will kill you.
some of the beaten path you can go off. Like the Abyss Cave with the giant pink sheep. I beat that.
Yeah. That was cool visually.
It took a little bit of time, but hey, it was 80,000 XP and I leveled up like 5 times. You know, I went from 17 to 22. It was worth it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And
when you just put points into luck, everything's a critical hit. It's great.
Yep. I mean, it's one way to play it, that's for sure. We talked about this last week. Like the concept that they're like, hey, you can develop your own playstyle. Do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. If you want to have a broken build, go for it. If you want to completely cripple yourself by not using Pictos at all, you can do that too, right?
You could certainly try. I think a Pictoless run would be quite impressive.
Yeah, I guarantee people are trying it already. I guarantee someone out there is like, I beat the game, it was awesome. Let's give myself another extra challenge. No Pictos.
Let's have a look. No Picto run. What does Google say? 3-hour speed run. What?
There we go.
I don't know that that's no Picto, but
no, that's really fast.
Yeah. There is someone here suggesting a challenge run on Reddit, but I don't know that it's got heats. It's like a competition. Good grief. Yeah. Don't know that anyone's really doing it because the next top result is stop using your Pictos wrong. Top 25 Pictos.
That annoys me because it's so complicated. There are like 100 different Pictos, and it's like, stop using them wrong, you idiot. It's like, well, how do I know what combination of 3 Pictos is the best one?
Well,
there's 100 of them.
I'm assuming they're also counting them as Lumina, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Once you master them, you can equip many of them.
You can, but there's still a lot I'm not taking. There's still a lot you aren't taking because you can't fit them all unless you have like 100 Lumina. Even then, that might not be enough.
Yeah, so I think because you can go New Game Plus,
Yeah.
people have like ground out the max number of luminas needed to equip everything, and it's about 1,400.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a lot,
Yeah.
but it's doable.
Just got to keep hunting for that color of Illumina.
Yeah, it's strictly speaking not great. There is a Lumina that'll kill you at the start of the turn, right?
Right.
So you don't want them all. But unless there's
No.
one that's like when die auto revive, which
And then on revive, you give everybody like 10 attack power. That'd be pretty interesting.
well, there's one that's called Powerful Revive when you get revived
Yeah.
by Powerful. So there's synergy there. I mean,
Or that. Yeah. I found a couple today that are like, if you get revived, give everybody else 4 AP. And it's like, okay.
it's neat.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff out there. So it is neat. Yeah, can I just say it for a story purpose? I really appreciate that they gave us the story point at the end of the first act where they're like, the reason the old guy on the beach murdered everyone is because I was like, if they make me wait until the end of the game to be like, what's this dude's problem? It would have really irked me the whole time. I was thinking about it the whole game.
So can you summarize why this old man on the beach killed everyone?
Again, so bottom line, Expedition Zero shows up on the continent, and some of them were gifted with immortality unexplainably. They don't know why. It's not all of them, it's only some of them, and this one dude attributes it to the Paintress. He's like, the Paintress gave me my immortality, this rocks. And all these other stupid expeditions that keep showing up on the continent are trying to kill the Paintress, so I'm gonna murder them all. It's straightforward. I like it as a motivation. It's fine.
It's reasonably straightforward, but what does that
Yeah.
have to do with like him being like, I want my family back?
Okay, that I don't understand.
All
That's
right.
fair.
And what about
There are things I don't understand about this guy.
Right, I'm just saying, I feel like it's all connected, right? On one hand, it's like, yeah, I want to keep my immortality, but he also knows that like SGA and Verso have helped other expeditions, but hasn't really tried to find a way to kill them. I mean, SGA is interesting
How do
because
you
he
know?
self-nerfs himself every few years by throwing away his own rocks.
So he can hang out with his friends. It's so wholesome.
Yeah.
Verso's like, are you losing your rocks on purpose? And SKA's like, so we can go on adventures. And it's like, SKA, you're too pure for this world.
He might be. He might be.
I'm just saying, there's no evidence that the old man didn't try killing Verso a whole bunch and just can't do it.
That
you
is,
know?
That is true. I should not jump to conclusions.
I mean, Verso seems pretty powerful. I mean, he dies a lot when I play him, but in story, he's pretty rad, I guess.
Yeah.
And this whole thing where everybody recognizes Mael is whatever's going on there. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Yeah.
I certainly hope we find out. I would be mad if we did not find that out.
Yeah. But I mean, people that beat the game, nobody's like, boy, they sure left a lot of plot threads dangling.
Sure.
Everyone seems pretty happy about it, so I think we're okay.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I believe somebody said, I can't remember who it was. Somebody said the game is like confusion, massive explanations, confusion, massive explanations. So you do spend a lot of time confused, but they do give you the answers apparently, like all at once.
I'm just picturing everyone is down in the video being like, "Oh, I get it now." You know?
Yes.
All at once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad, because if it was a J.J. Abrams joint of we're going to introduce all these mysteries and then I don't know what the answers are because answers are boring.
Right.
Have fun playing my story. I would have been pissed. So apparently, as far as I know, it's not that.
Yeah.
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 Anywho's, it's good. It's fun. It's challenging. I feel like sometimes I've completely forgotten how to parry, and then sometimes I feel like a parry god. I can't consistently figure this out. So
have I?
There's a basic enemy, like when you fight groups and it's like all of them are kind of strong. There's this one little enemy with like no HP, and he does a regular 1-2 attack, and I don't think I've parried it a single time in my entire playthrough. It's so annoying. I can't figure that one out.
So the real question is just like, why are you doing it on the hardest difficulty? Like, what are you getting out of that? Other than
Sense of accomplishment?
right, because you're not getting any achievements. None of them are tied to difficulty.
Neat. I'm okay. Look, sense of accomplishment. I'm just saying. That's it.
I mean, I think you'd still feel like you accomplished something on one difficulty down. You don't have to go to story, go to intended. I feel like that's still reasonable.
Yes. I'm sure I would also feel accomplished if I did that.
But you wouldn't have to bash your head into a wall.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay. Cool.
See, but then, okay, but hang on a second. So here's the thing. Well, no, it's a greater sense of accomplishment because, like, the first boss in the game, I literally spent 3 hours trying to beat it. Couldn't do it. And I was dodging. I wasn't even parrying on that boss. I was, like, dodging, and it was easier, and I was still failing miserably. But then I beat it. And then on future, story progression bosses, none of that's taken me 3 hours, right? Even if it does take me 3 or 4 times to figure out what's going on and what the timings are and stuff, I get there. And that's nice. It's nice to be like, I'm better than I was when I started the game because I'm handling these big time bosses more easily than I did the first one in the story. So that's a lot of what's going on.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's all.
I just, I'm always baffled when I see you go, okay, this guy, today you were fighting the chromatic hexagon.
Yeah.
It's the big thing with the crystals on the back. And you're like,
The
okay,
rocks.
I can't do any damage to it. I need to shoot the crystals. All right, Versa, hit him with your stick. I'm like, why? You can't do any damage at the moment. You had MP. You could have shot the crystal.
Yeah, that was like the first time through.
Was not. It was
okay. Second attempt.
It was like the attempt you beat it, which really kind of undermines my point about doing the wrong thing if it worked out anyway. But like,
I don't. Okay, because I remember emptying my AP on that crystal. Because even if your attack power is gone, you can still do a basic attack, right?
You did a skill on it. You did an attack skill on it when it was red crystal doing no damage. And you knew it at that point.
I think that was on purpose. That might have just been me screwing up, I guess.
It might have been.
I don't know. Did I finish that where I was making the slowest progress of all time? Where I could barely clear out the shields and do, like, some damage to the crystal, and then he'd heal the crystal back up, but I was still doing damage to the monster?
I think so, because that boss is really kind of vicious, where it empowers itself from the crystal, giving itself a couple shields, and then the crystal goes up to another level, and the next time it gives it shields, it gives itself more shields than it did last time. So eventually it's applying 7 shields, and you just can't get enough AP to break that.
Right, especially if only way you get AP is by parrying attacks, and he's not attacking you. He's spending his whole turn powering up and adding more shields. Yeah, so super annoying.
I've got a ton of the free aim shooting pictos and stuff equipped. So I can apply burn and mark from the free aim shots. And then whenever I hit someone that's been marked, I get AP back. Like, only once per round or whatever. But it means I can always leave him marked, the next person can hit him for 1 AP and get 2 back.
Right.
It's very efficient. I love it.
It is, and that's how the game's intended to be played. It's like, check out this boss with weird mechanics. What pictos do you have where you can beat this boss more easily? And you can do it the Omicron way and do smart things, or you can do it the my way, where
I'm not
it's
saying,
a slog.
I'm not saying I worked that out for that boss. That's just how I had it.
You were lucky. Fair enough.
I was lucky. Let's not give me too much credit.
But you could have done that. I could have done that. I could have pulled back, added some Luminas that did that free aim AP marking stuff, and it would have been a lot easier, certainly. I was going to. I think another attempt at failing, I would have been like, all right, let's switch this thing up.
Because I don't want to spend too much time criticizing the way you want to play the game, But I see you just like applying burn on burn on burn, and it's like, I get it. Burn is really great. It's passive damage. It's fun.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
But I've seen you apply like 16 stacks of burn to a character, and that just means it's gonna burn for 16 turns. You gotta dodge.
No,
for
because Mael has an ability that consumes up to 10 of those burns and does a ton of damage.
Does she? I didn't.
Yes.
I didn't see the abilities where she consumes burn. I know she can switch to virtuous if they are burning, but not consuming them. Okay,
Yep.
that makes.
If she has one ability where if they've got 10 stacks, well, you can consume any, but having 10 is awesome.
Right.
Yeah, she'll consume 10 of the stacks and then just rip them a new one. It's awesome.
Okay.
So yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Because I've also seen there are some bosses where it's like, all right, great, I've got 15 stacks of burn. And then it does an ability that clears all of its stacks. And I'm like, okay, well, that seems like a little wasted effort on that guy.
It is. I feel like it burns harder if there's more stacks too, right? It's not just the same amount for 16 turns. If you have 10 stacks, it's a bigger amount of burn.
I would love for that to be true. I don't know that it is.
I feel like it is. Because I feel like I go from burns doing 3 digits to burns doing 4 digits. And more, like up to 3,000, 4,000 damage as more stacks come on. Okay. But it might be something else that's doing that. I don't know. There's a lot of mechanics at play here. Right. Yeah.
You could be doing something that's applying defenseless to it or something, or slow rolls its agility so it takes more damage, something like that.
Could be. Could be.
It's hard to know.
It is. So, yeah, it's interesting too because this is back on the story. It introduces you to a world that's like pretty fantastical, right? There's floating rocks out there. You're on Lumiere. There's like magical systems going on. But then it's like also there are entirely non-human species in this world.
Right.
Which you don't have any on Lumiere, but if you get out onto the continent, they exist. And they've got stories of living peacefully with humans before the fracture.
That's the thing. We're not shown any at Lumiere. But we don't know that they're not there or don't have any interaction. Because
Lune says, holy crap, gestrals are real, and holy crap, Grandis are real. So she's never seen any of those.
But but one of the people that you can meet in Lumiere is a sculptor who's like, what's wrong with my sculptor? Nobody really likes it. And you can be like, it's of I think it's of Esquier. Like, she's sculpting Esquier, so she knows what Esquier looks like, and you can be
because you should Expedition Zero came back.
But did they bring pictures?
Some of them.
Right?
Apparently.
They would have come back 70 years ago.
Yeah.
How does this person know to sculpt what someone looks like from secondhand reports of someone who died 30 years ago, you know? Because
they drew pictures or made their own sculptures. It's not hard.
I don't know, but you can also tell this person, like, no, it's great, just paint it, right? Just because she's called the paintress doesn't mean you can't paint things. And there are kids running around with gestural masks, being like, do you think gestrals are real? But we know exactly what they look like.
Yeah.
If you know what they look like. It's probably like gestrals are a folk tale or a bedtime story for French kids, so they've included it. And
oh, you mean like in the real world?
Right. So in the real world before the fracture, gestrals were just like a cultural thing that kept getting passed down.
Or gestrals French culture.
Because the petanques, the little balls that you gotta chase,
petanques. Yeah,
are one of those things. They're like a toy.
Petanque.
Yeah, it's spelled with a Q-U-E.
It's a ball throwing game, yeah.
Yeah. So they've definitely done that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing people say that the word gestral is taken from French words, French vocabulary, but there's nothing that's solid. A gestural in French culture, no.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just wonder if if you get too deep into like the world build, you can start poking holes in it.
Yeah, that's true with anything.
It is.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, when the Grandis was like, I remember playing with human children. I was like, that's not something we have. It's like the coexistence of humans and these non-human species
Well,
before the fracture. The Gestrals never said anything like that.
is it pre-fracture though? Because
That's
assuming
what he says. Yeah.
he says it's pre-fracture. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yep.
my theory was that maybe they were just humans still alive on the continent before the Neverons killed them all. You know, or the Garbage took
Right.
them.
Right. Right.
But if it was pre-fracture,
Yeah.
maybe this world has been wild for longer than we expect. But at the same time, they have
And that's what I'm
cars
trying to
and
figure
stuff.
out. And trains and
Airships,
yeah, and also magic.
also magic.
Yeah. It's the Mistborn world build where it's like we have technology as you know it in your world, but also we have magic.
Mm.
Just right side by side. It's not super common in fantasy storytelling.
No, not super common.
I guess Jim Butcher's done some stuff too with steampunk, but with the addition of magic to it.
Mm. Fair enough.
Kind of fun. Yeah. Anywho, it's good. Really good.
Yeah, I highly recommend everyone go play it. So, what else have you been up to? Have you seen any movies?
No.
I thought you went and saw 28 Years Later.
No.
Oh, are you planning on it?
I don't know. The buzz about it is like really mixed. It's weird. There were people that really enjoy it and people that are like, that was the biggest piece of crap I've ever seen. And it's like, those are some wildly differing opinions. I'm nervous.
I've heard people say it splits into two movies. Like there's, what I heard it was described as like Mickey 17, where the first movie's about one thing and then it shifts to be about this other thing.
Okay.
Kind of like that. And they just really prefer the first thing to the second thing. So
and maybe some people prefer the second thing to the first thing. Yeah.
Maybe. But I've also heard it's the start of a new trilogy.
What?
Yeah.
So okay.
Maybe there'll be more. Maybe I think they've already filmed part 2.
You
know, there might be more. But okay, if you're not going to go watch it, I won't stress about going to go see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I might.
No, just, tell me if you do.
Okay, I'll let you know if I do.
Yeah. Have you seen
I don't know.
28 Weeks Later?
No, I need to.
You know that's done by different people, though, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Weeks Later. Is it on Disney Plus?
Don't know.
Let's find out. I'm pulling it up right this very second.
Where can I watch it? It's on Netflix and Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus, but it's not on Netflix here because, again, different licensing.
Yeah, it's also on Apple TV.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on Hulu.
Interesting.
All right. Maybe I'll watch it this week. I've got some time. Watch 28 Weeks. So see how I feel about it.
Okay.
Yeah. What I have heard is that, 28 days later, it kind of heavily implies that it's only the island that has the rage virus on it, and they've kept it contained.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see planes, like commercial planes, flying past, and it's like, so the rest of the world doesn't seem all that destroyed.
Right.
I just love that concept. I just think it's very funny. And I've heard that future movies are like, but actually, the rage virus escaped to the continent, and it's like, well, that ruins the whole thing then.
A localized zombie outbreak.
Yeah, on an island. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Islands are good at containing diseases and zombies.
I mean, zombies can't drown, so they can just walk out into the water and.
I know, but these aren't zombies. These are people infected by a rage virus. They can be killed by normal means. They're not undead.
So you can just beat one to death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They do that. They baseball bat beat them to death.
But are they hitting the head?
Not necessarily. I think if you do enough damage to the body, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, which again, it's really funny that it's not an actual zombie movie. It has all the hallmarks and all the tropes,
Uh-huh.
but it's not zombies. Yeah, I think we talked about this. It's just an interesting way to do it.
Yeah. Speaking of zombies, it's a new season of anime coming up soon, start of July.
Mm-hmm.
There's a show airing July 6th called Night of the Living Dead. Oh, not of the Living Dead, Living Cat, excuse me, where
Of course.
people turn into cats if they get bit by one. So it's a zombie show, but they're cats.
Yeah. Are the cats motivated to bite people? Because that
Yeah,
doesn't happen very often. Okay.
yeah, yeah. They're like I
So they
saw
turn into like zombie cats.
just cats.
Well, but
Cats who
cats
want
aren't actively like hunting people. You know what I mean?
fine cats who want to bite people.
Got it. Angry cats.
Angry cats.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fun
Yeah.
idea. Yeah. That is fun. Oh yeah, speaking of anime, I have been watching the Apothecary Diaries with my daughter.
I've heard good things.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's yeah, so like the story takes place in ancient China during one of the many dynasties they've had.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting because it has a character who was raised by an apothecary.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has a better understanding of like science and the human body and the natural order of things than like most people do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, basically she's just used. She can figure problems out. She can solve mysteries, just kind of using basic science that we understand, but wasn't really all that commonplace knowledge back in, 900 AD China.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of the concept. It's good.
So
It's fun.
I've seen that one of the shitty isekai shows that I watch is getting a second season, so I'm like, oh, I'll go back and rewatch it. It's one of the ones that didn't completely suck, but still had a fair amount of suck that I've had to skip through. It's called
Sure.
The World's Finest Assassin Gets Reincarnated into another world as an aristocrat.
Sure does.
And so because he's like an assassin who is also intimately familiar with the human body and stuff like that, he's like, as he's growing, when he gets reincarnated, the goddess is like, I need you to kill someone for me. You'll have 18 years to train.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like taking over the kitchen so he can make sure he cooks food with like nutritional diets and stuff. And so there's a little bit of a commonality there. That's the thing I'm pointing out here.
Yeah,
it's another show
and
about someone with modern knowledge in a feudal society doing things.
Right. It's a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, written by Mark Twain, where this rando from Mark Twain's time gets teleported back to King Arthur's Court, and like, same thing, like has an understanding of modern science and mechanics and stuff like that, and just kind of like screws everything up because of what he knows.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
One of the first isekais, I would say. Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
Secret weeb.
It's good headcanon. It's good headcanon.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the other things about Apothecary Diaries, the main character was basically raised in a brothel.
Okay.
So she knows all the ins and outs of all this stuff, and like all the head courtesans like consider her their little sister, and she sees them as her big sisters and stuff.
Sure.
And so as part of a mystery she's trying to solve, she grabs a random soldier from the palace and like brings him and like basically treats him to a night with the top courtesan in the brothel.
Okay.
Which usually costs about a year's salary for somebody like him, right?
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of money.
And then an ongoing plot line in the story for the next 2 seasons is this guy is ruined. He is in love with his courtesan and wants to marry her. But the only way he can do that is if he buys out her contract with the brothel, which would cost 10 times his salary as an army man. And he is destroyed. He is done. So it's interesting. I feel bad for the guy. I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough, buddy.
Uh-huh. It seriously is.
Tá gente assim, né?
But it's good because the writing really tries to look at people as people. It's not just played for laughs. Like, oh, this guy doesn't want to date any other women because he,
He's had the
got the
best.
top tier stuff, right?
Right.
Haha, what an idiot. It's like, no, like he really cares about her as a person, and his friends are like, we get it. How can we help you solve this problem? And it's like, it's a real person thing, which I appreciate. They do that a lot.
He had a genuine human connection with another genuine human. What a fucking
Right.
plot twist.
I know. Didn't have to do it that way.
Right.
And they could have it could have been a one-off. It could have been like, hey, this random soldier guy, he's like in love with a prostitute now. Huh. We never see him again. But he pops back up in season 2 a few times and is made into like a real character. So yeah.
Neat.
That's all. It's good.
I need to watch that show. People keep recommending it to me, and I haven't done it. So
Fair enough.
need to watch it.
I imagine so. All right. Is it Warhammer time?
Sure, we can talk Warhammer.
All right. Unless you had something else you wanted to get to.
No, basically everything else I want to talk about is Warhammer. It's just not strictly the book.
Got it.
First thing I'll talk about, because it's mostly a minor gripe, which is Reddit sucks now.
Now?
Well, it's fair. Okay, my Reddit sucks now, which is the like ultra hard right nut jobs had their own little private Warhammer subreddit, which got nuked.
Oh, they did. What was it?
Horus Galaxy.
Horus Galaxy. I did see that a couple times. Yeah. And they nuked it. Right.
They nuked it. Which meant
so now they're coming to the other subreddits.
They're all coming to all the other subreddits, and there's a lot of like, all Xenos are bad, right? Or it doesn't count as racism if it's done to another species, right, guys? Aren't the Black Templars really cool? And it's like, I understand the art of metaphor here, guys. Just go away, please. Just, please, for the love of God, go away.
It's like, I don't want to have these conversations.
Yeah, I've like, countless times I've looked in like Grimdank, the meme subreddit, where people are like, yeah, people just need to leave Black Templars alone, because guess what? They're just cool, and that's why we like them, and they have to get over it. And it's like, and the next comment down will be like, yeah, right on, brother. You're the realest guy I've ever met. No one here could actually explain to me why, this post is racist or whatever. And it's just like, you guys, it's good.
So like,
yeah.
I just need some backstory on Black Templars.
Okay, the Black Templars are a successor chapter of Dawn. They are highly religious, right?
Sure.
So they believe that the Emperor is good, and they're perpetually on crusade. But they're like, because they're highly religious, they're one of the most xenophobic chapters. They're the least likely to work with other Xenos. So they attract. They also have like the Iron Cross as their chapter logo, right?
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
Yeah. So they attract a certain kind of player. And so when they post a Black Templar being like, it doesn't count as racism if it's to another species, right? Because technically true, maybe, right? But the problem is, like, isn't that we're justifying what is or isn't racism. It's the things you're doing to other people that we have a problem with, right? So you can see how they're skirting acceptable behavior, like the line of acceptable behavior, by making these kinds of posts. And it's getting tiresome. It's really getting tiresome already. And it's been like
I could
3
understand
days.
that. Yeah. No, I get that. But I mean, the Imperium's official stance on Xenos is we kill all the Xenos, right?
Yes and no. So there are books where the Imperium like left some alive and was like, sure, you can be like a client race of the Imperium, and then it turns out if you like blend up this Xenos and drink them through a straw, it works as really good rejuvenat, and they just hunted them to extinction.
Right.
So
like the Black Templars aren't all that different from the entire Imperium, right?
Yeah, no, they're not hugely different. It's just like they've become the banner of these other people and their beliefs. Like they tend to gravitate towards like the what are they called? The Death Corps of Krieg, right? Which because they're like heavily World War II inspired, right, in their outfits and design, and very just like, we're born to die for the Emperor. That's the only value we can possibly have. So they have all these like very grim outlooks on everything, and
Yeah.
it's not that these things can't be in Warhammer. It's
Right.
the people that are rallying and using that as like metaphor to say what they really want to say. That's the problem, right?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I can see how that would get annoying. So basically, what you're saying is when they were contained in their own subreddit, it was better.
It was better. Like, for instance, I was just trying to think of one of the examples that I just saw, and I can't find it, but they posted the meme. Yeah, it's like this little thing in this little box being like, I guess I'll just go outside, and it gets punched and it comes back into its box, but the walls are 10 times thicker.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
It was the Imperium. Hey, let's go and explore the galaxy. And then it was all the Xenos punching the Imperium, and then it was the Imperium with its walls up, but it's got a bolter being like, let's go, Xenos. Being like, let's go kill them all. And suddenly it was a Black Templar. And it's it's writing the narrative that the Imperium is anti-Xenos because all the Xenos want to kill humans. All right? It's like, oh, it's their fault. That's why we get to have these behaviors. Like, they're justifying it. But it's rewriting the actual history that the Imperium just killed all of the peaceful aliens anyway, right? Like, there's a reason there are no peaceful aliens left. And the only thing that's left are the ones that could fight back, you know?
Yeah, but like the initial idea behind the Emperor being like the Xenos are bad news was that Xenos are constantly smacking on humans.
It's up to debate.
Okay.
There are some short stories that are like, in the Age of Strife, Xenos like betrayed the humans right after, what was it? The Cybernetic Revolt. Like, we all got together and defeated AI.
Right.
And then the aliens turned on us. And it's like, okay, there's maybe a little short story, but there's also other short stories here and there, little pockets of lore that suggests, no, the humans did that. Like, they did it first. And it's all just big muddled mystery because it's something that happened 30,000 years ago. There's not supposed to be a definitive answer. And that, like, again, it's all metaphor for, is racism okay today? And it's like, okay, well, they invaded our lands, but you go back far enough, someone else invaded them, and they don't care about that anymore, and blah, blah. It's like, it's a huge mess, and it's the same people who would complain that, like, oh, you're bringing politics into Warhammer. It's like, politics has always been there. It's you.
Yeah, certainly.
It's you that.
But I don't know. I just see if somebody's like, yes, the Imperium stance on Xenos justifies me hating black people. It's like, how? How is that? What are you even talking about?
It like, to suggest that they are considering it in logical terms that the Imperium is somehow justifying their own personal beliefs, I think is the wrong way to put it, because they have beliefs that are illogically justified in their own mind anyway, and then they're expressing that through other ways. Right? They're not using one to justify the other. They're just expressing that somewhere else.
They're just like, suffer not a Xenos to live, and then the subtext is, boy, I sure hate Mexicans.
Pretty much is how it's coming across. Yeah.
Okay.
Because these are the people who will turn up and then make an issue at a tournament when they like have to play against a black person, you know? Or they take issue when Games Workshop says Warhammer's for everyone, you know?
Right. I get it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Polly Walnuts asks, is that a Predator mask back there?
That one just there? No, that is a death mask from what's that game called? Darksiders?
Sounds about right.
Darksiders 2? Yeah, Darksiders. Yeah. So in it, the apocalypse gets triggered accidentally, and you play as War, and you have to go around Earth killing angels and demons. And then it's pretty good. 2's okay. That was from the collector's edition of 2. Yeah. 360.
Gotcha. 360 era, good times. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Noted. All right. So Warhammer Reddit has been destroyed because they let all of the animals out of the enclosure. It's like Jurassic Park.
Kind of.
Sort of.
Well, actually, no. I think that's a really good because the animals in Jurassic Park always like destroy their enclosure, and all of the animals on Horus Galaxy couldn't play by Reddit's rules and destroyed their own enclosure. Right?
True facts.
That's yeah. That's woo.
Woo! All right. Do we want to hit the book now, or is there more Warhammer?
Mainly that there's a bunch of DLC for Warhammer games. So Rogue Trader and Darktide have a similar piece of DLC, which is there's now playable BTs. So that's cool. Darktide finally has a reason for me to play it again. It's a lot of fun. You get a Cyber Mastiff as a pet that runs around and fights zombies with you. It's great. You get to name these, so I've seen a lot of really creative names, like because you're playing a space cop, some people have been like, I call mine Warrant, that way I've always got a warrant to investigate what's going on.
Which, appropriate. Yeah,
So that's really fun. This ties into the book. There's a character in the book who names all of her dogs after Imperial Guard commanders. And so I've named mine Rogel, and I've got a little pet Rogel.
Aw, that's adorable.
Yeah.
I don't know that Dorn would appreciate that, but yes, it's adorable.
He might. You don't know.
I mean, we get a lot of time with Dorn in the Horus Heresy. I don't know if he would appreciate that. He's a pretty straight-laced guy.
I mean, we can name a tank after him, but not our dogs.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly right.
But a dog is also a weapon of war. I feel like it checks out. Like, this thing's more machine than a real dog.
If it was a bazooka, yeah.
What if I gave it a bazooka?
That'd probably help, actually.
All right. So what did we read, Falcon?
Assassinorum Kingmaker.
Kingmaker by Robert Rath.
Kingmaker. Yeah.
Ugh. So, what did you think? Where do we want to start?
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Good. This is your first Assassin book since the last one, which was like probably a year ago in the Horus Heresy, where they go and like, we're going to go and assassinate Horus. This could only end well for us.
And then it doesn't end well at all for anyone. Not at all.
British. I'm going to ban that guy.
Right?
Yeah, no, not for them.
Yeah. No, not at all. Because, anyway. Because Horus has, like, magic friends is the problem. If it was just Horus from prior to falling, it might have worked.
It might have. I mean...
But the couple times they show us it fail, it's because friggin... Who was it? Do you remember the one where the guy, like... Does Erebus sniff him out? I think it's Erebus. Yeah.
It's Erebus and the rest of the Mournival, they're like, oh, you tried to poison him in his food? And it's like... Abaddon's there being like, here, eat some yourself or whatever. And he's like, stabs the guy with his own venom.
Right,
and
classic.
Sucks all the moisture out of him in like 10 seconds. And it's like, oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, that's Abaddon.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. These assassins have a much easier time of it because they're not trying to kill Horus.
They are trying to kill a knight, though.
Yeah, but come on. A lot easier.
Yeah.
Much easier.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously, because you know what? They succeed.
Wow.
A whole bunch.
They do succeed a whole lot. So I guess the premise is Gulliman's back, and he's been like, hey, everyone, let's go to war. It'll be a good time. And this little night house, well, the two night houses, which is really interesting, on this world of Dominion are like, you don't get to just be like, come here, let's go, little boy. You have to come and treat with us. We're partners in this.
Right, because we predate the Imperium.
Yeah.
We founded this planet before the Long Night. Like, you sent us out back before the Imperium existed. We predate all of you.
Mm-hmm.
We're more important than you. Come treat us like equals, and then maybe we'll think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is also like on one hand, good on them, right? Good,
Mm.
but on the other hand, it's like okay, but the Imperium's huge. You're one planet. Like even in the relative importance of a night house, in like even in the context of the war zone that they're being asked to go and fight in, which is like, hey, we think you guys would be especially tactically advantageous right here because knights are mysteriously immune from this data virus that's going around.
Or are they? Uh-huh.
Or are they? Yeah, I mean it still takes a lot of work to infect them, but it's like the Imperium will just like come crush you in like a year, maybe
Yeah.
a year, maybe 200, but like have some sense of self-preservation when like demanding respect from the biggest bully in the galaxy.
You'd think so, but I don't know. We spent some time with the leadership on this planet, and at no point did I think they were all that smart. So I don't know. I can see them realistically being like, Gulliman can't take us. We've been here for thousands of years, millions of years.
Sure, sure. They do believe
Yeah.
like that they do have genuinely been around for longer than the Imperium. They know their
Yep.
night houses have weathered all of the storms that come to their planet just naturally anyway. Like they've not had to call on the Imperium like other planets we've seen.
Hmm.
So yeah, no,
I like.
mean, I get it.
Yeah, and I like the backstory of the planet too. I just love the idea that these two separate colony ships were heading there.
Yeah, they both.
One of them lands and is like, "Hooray!" and the other gets lost in the warp for like 50 years.
Well, it's not even that they were both heading there at the same time. The first one heads out being like, "Great, we found a planet. It's gonna be ours."
Yeah.
And then they get lost and like, "Oh shit! I guess those last guys just didn't make it." Send out a new family to go and settle, and they go and settle, and then 300 years later, you know, the first house is like, but we have a writ that says this is ours, and like, but so do we, and we've been here for 300 years. And then,
But ours predates yours.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's a really smart way to create this like super long-standing animosity between these two houses because it just dates back to day one. And yeah, both houses have pretty solid claims on the planet. It's weird, but it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do feel like after 10,000 years of living with each other, they should have maybe worked it out. They should have been able
Some
to.
point.
Really, I feel like the houses are Strider and Rao, and they really should have like gotten along better at some point. I feel like
Yeah, I feel like some giant uniter
you are
have been born.
all robot.
You know, Ethernet is happy. Not seeing any discussion in Ethernet.
You are so robot.
Mr. Cheers. So, all right. Oh, I got that.
I like that he knows he's a robot chat, but still is trying to communicate via voice.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy? Quite choose.
Yeah,
We're getting 5,000 ping.
You sound better now. Oh,
Yeah,
and I can see you again. Yeah.
It looks like it's spiked there. It's Discord. My internet's fine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it spiked up to 5,000 ping for about 30 seconds.
Neat.
And now it's okay. Is it okay?
It seems fine now.
We're back. Okay, Discord, man. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
What I was saying is, you would think, okay, in human history, right, there's examples of this. Like two people in the same area, they've been warring for centuries, and then a grand uniter appears, someone's king, and can somehow magically bridge the gap between both cultures, and then they unite, and they're good. Like, you'd think that would have happened at some point in hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, because wildly, these aren't even two wildly different cultures.
Right.
Like, they've all agreed that, yeah, getting actually married beyond contractual obligations leads to emotional attachment. We don't want that. So instead, everyone's just gonna have a vat-grown child. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. They're doing their very best to make sure they never mend their differences at all. They are trying. Yep,
Yeah.
it's true. It's
Yeah.
an interesting world build.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Terra is like, all right, look, this world's important. Their knights are important. Gilliman needs them.
Mm-hmm.
And we need them. We can't just go and crush them because we need them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason. So, like, we'll send some assassins. We will. Apparently, the current guy in charge is not all that like friendly with Gilliman. So let's kill him and make sure that somebody hops in his spot that is friendly to the Imperium, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, right?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That's the plan.
Yep.
Yeah. So they send a group of 3,
Mm-hmm.
each from different houses of the Assassinorum,
Temples.
each specializing in different things.
Yep.
And say, go figure it out.
Go figure it out. Yeah. They kidnap / forge some transfer papers to get a Freeblade Knight from this planet to be like, hey, you want to come tell us all about your cultures and history, and we can pretend to be you, so we've got an in to like the nobility here for our like subterfuge mission. And he's like, what am I doing here? Give me my drink. I want a drink. And they're like, well, we're here to kill your king. And he's like, you should have led with that.
Yeah, they're all worried about like, what if he finds out what we're really up to? And then they're like, but I think maybe he actually hates the king. Let's try that. Because he's talking in his sleep, right?
Yeah.
I think that's how they figure that out. Is he's like talking in his sleep, and it makes it sound like he has some pretty strongly negative feelings about the king. They're like, if it's in his dreams, it's probably real. So they go with it, and he's like, yes, I'm on board. Let's do this thing. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And they also have to have a similar conversation with his sacristan, like his tech priest that helps him keep his night running, being like, so if a part was to get damaged, you would replace it, right? And it's like, yeah, but if a part starts showing signs of wear and tear, you'd replace it preemptively, right? To prevent damage? I guess that's logical. And it's like, great, we're going to do that with the king. And she's like, oh, right on. You know?
You're gonna this Mechanicus, man. Like, they are dangerous. You can get in there and have them do things using their own logic. That's like, all right, maybe let's slow your roll a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's exactly how it works. She's like, oh yeah, absolutely, regicide. Got it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
That seems logical. I'll do it. Sign me up.
So they got a shapeshifter human, which I thought was interesting. Because it's like the Imperium isn't going to grab a shapeshifter Xenos race and put them in a spot like this because they don't trust Xenos as a whole, right?
Yeah.
And so instead, they take humans and, like, from a young age, mold them into being shapeshifters with science instead. And it's like, all right, that's one way to do it, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's neat. I mean, you've seen Calidus Assassins before. I think it's Calidus. Calidus.
Yeah.
You've definitely seen 2 of them before.
I have. That's true.
Yeah, can you name them for bonus points? Not the characters.
Absolutely not.
Just the books they're from. I'll take the books.
Not even close. I don't remember the names of books. What are you talking about? Every week we're like, what book did we read? And I'm like, And this one I got, though, but it was a surprise.
Okay, when I say the name of, I don't mean you have to literally name the book. Can you describe the events that took place in the book, where they were based in stories? Just ballpark it.
Was there one? Nope, can't do it.
Okay.
I feel like there was one running. There was one on the run. Like somebody wanted her dead.
Interesting.
But then she got murdered. And she was working for some high lord. And he was bummed about it. And I don't know, man. It feels like one of the short stories that we read as part of a compendium.
So I'm pretty sure that there is the book that we read about the Strike Force going to kill Horus has one of these assassins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
That was a while ago. But also, Spears of the Emperor has one of these, where Amadeus, the Mentor's Legion Space Marine, is like, I'm going to cross the Great Rift and go and check out what's going on over here, because Gulliman told me to. And then they get there, and they're like, yeah, you're not getting your ship back. You're going to stay here and help us fight our losing war. And then one of his attendants turns out to be a shape-shifting Calidus assassin and kills the Celestial Lion. Do you remember this?
It's ringing bells, but I'm not like, oh yes, of course, that story.
It was Kartash. Come on.
Sure.
I can name that one by name, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yes.
Oh, and thanks, Polly, for gifting a sub to Santi. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't know who Santi is, but neat.
One of my followers got dragged over in the raid, I assume.
Yeah. Good on you not giving yourself a sub first. Yeah. So these people have to go and kill a king who's presumably been living in his night.
Yep.
So that poses some technical challenges, is I think the best way to put it. How do you kill someone in the most powerful war machine on the planet?
Right. Also some technical questions of, is he okay in there? That's a long time to be stuck in a night.
Right, but that's true. But we have seen someone who lives in a vat in the last book we read. He was just like, I live in a tank. I rule the planet.
And dreadnoughts are living in tanks as well. Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it is a long time to be living in a tank.
So my big question after reading this book is, are some knights as big as Titans? The size differences here, I was really struggling with. Because they're like, this one was huge. And I'm like, but how big was it?
So there are no real numbers in this book.
Nope.
So let me Google how...
They're like, there are these little Titans running around his feet. And I'm like, so are you a Titan size? What's going on? How do we differentiate between knights and Titans? Because in previous books, it's like the knights work together like packs of hyenas and they take down the bigger Titans, and it's very cool, but they're definitely smaller. But then in this book, it's like, this knight was ginormous and huge, and I'm like, but how big was it? It doesn't seem very mobile. Okay, there we go.
So it says here that a Warhound Titan, the smallest of the Titans, is around 56 feet. Right?
Okay, fine. Yep.
Reasonable. And how tall is a Paladin Knight? Because I think they're one of the bigger ones.
Are those the ones that are in this book?
Yeah.
With the Leviathan?
Yeah, one of them. I think.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
These are around 40 feet.
You just said one was 50.
Yeah, the Titan is taller by about 10 feet. Congratulations.
Okay. So yeah, Titan sized then.
Only the larger ones. The smaller knights, like Jester, would be much smaller, like half that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, I get that. Right.
But even the bigger knights are all still monopiloted, right? The slightly bigger, and you get a Warhound Titan, and that's got a crew of people working in it.
I got it.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So there are knights that rival the size of the smallest Titans.
Very nearly. Yeah.
Right. Just the whole relationship between knights and Titans, I thought I understood it. But if there are knights that can kind of stand toe-to-toe with a Titan, then that changes the whole thing.
I don't know how they compare in terms of actual weaponry to each other.
Okay.
But yeah. I could look up.
But I mean, so there's no way you would take money in a smallest Titan versus biggest knight fight. You wouldn't put money on the knight ever. If the Titan outclasses it.
I mean, are we talking lore or tabletop?
Lore.
Who's riding?
Dan Abnett.
Ooh, I probably give it to the knight. I think Dan Abnett likes to favor a little underdog every now and then. Has a plot twist.
But there's a difference between a one-off and like every time you face up, there's a decent chance the knight wins, you know?
Right. I look. The answer is I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
I would assume, just for things to make sense in a hierarchical perspective, I'm gonna say the smallest titan beats the biggest knight.
Yeah,
On a
right?
one-on-one, I'm gonna say that purely because I think, if I had to give it a reason, I feel like the Titan has better shields.
Okay,
If I had to pick a reason, that would be it.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the intent of a big knight is not to fight a titan. It's just to be bigger and better at fighting other stuff.
Yeah, so, okay, one of the things that they briefly touched on here is that when they settled, they had knights. Like, knights were meant to do a thing, and, like, they mentioned that, like, the chain swords that they have as weapons are meant for digging. So, knights were originally, like, agricultural machines that were then co-opted into being personal defense for, like, settlements. So where, like, the biggest knights fit into, like, an agricultural system is maybe they were mining units, you know, digging up raw resources, right? You just need something a little more heavy for that.
Yeah, maybe. They also say the knights are old tech. They cannot be replicated in the current Imperium.
Yeah, so some can, but there are definitely older patterns that just aren't. Yeah, I think that's, like, the key there is the fact that it's mono-piloted, is, like, that, like, the things that we can build now, you need a crew, and they're called Titans. If you don't need a crew, and it's a single purpose, it's a knight. Right?
Yep.
This is not the data sheet that I wanted. I like that I can click on a picture that's like, here's a picture of a knight's data sheet for the tabletop, and it gives me to, like, do you want to buy a knight?
I mean,
No.
they know their audience.
I have knights. I have knights in boxes. Like,
Okay. All right.
so a knight paladin has 26 wounds. Warhound Titan. And a 3-up in bull save. That's neat. A Warhound Titan has 40 and a 2-up in bull save. Okay. So it's gonna like absorb hits a little bit better, and it's got more hits that it can take.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So Warhound Titan's officially better.
Tabletop.
Yep.
But in the books, you can do whatever you want.
Oh, of course you can. I mean, in this book, we have an assassin whose main skill is shooting a gun from really far away, killing a knight. Like,
yeah, but the knight was already dead. It wasn't that hard.
well, was the knight dead? The pilot might have been dead. I think it turns out later that maybe the knight was gaining some level of sentience.
Yes, that's true. That's a good moment. Yeah. And the other interesting thing about the knights is that they retain somehow kind of the memories and the personalities of their previous pilots dating back generations.
So, interestingly enough, Titans do that too.
Yeah, right?
Right. Except,
Yeah.
I feel like with Titans, there's an expectation that the pilots don't all die in them, you know? Because they're just like, we're the biggest things on the battlefield. Chances are we're walking out of here. Chances are if we die, everyone here is dying, and this suit is going to be irrecoverable, you know?
Right, right.
So it is a bit weird that, like, Titans do that too in some books.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just story flavor. It doesn't...
Yeah.
It doesn't really have story relevance at all. Like, there's the concept that you have to convince the spirits of the machine to allow you to be a new pilot if you're new to the whole thing. They can reject you if they think that you're not right anymore, or you're being impersonated by someone, which is a really funny thing that happens in this book.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the knight's a huge
But I mean, that's
ritual. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's machine spirit stuff. That's all over Warhammer. That's like you appease the machine spirits and then it works for you, whether it's a coffee machine or whether it's a Titan and whatever. That's how this works, right?
Right, but the knights are a little bit more involved than lighting a candle and saying a prayer. Like, cigarettes.
You light a lot of candles and you say a lot of things. Yeah, I know. I was there for this one.
She had to recite this dude's entire lineage going back 10,000 years on both his mother and father's side. That's
I know.
huge, right? And
you know what I think?
You think it's the same as lighting a candle to turn on a light switch?
No, I think she could have skipped the whole thing if she'd been like, the world is in danger, let me pilot you. And they're like, oh yeah, good call. And then they do. Because that happens later. They're like, you're an imposter, die. And she's like, well, actually, though, the kingdom is going to die unless you let me drive you. And they're like, you know what, fine. And then they do. You can logic these things. You don't have to appease them with long recitations of genealogy.
But just to play Titan's advocate,
okay,
they agreed to do that after they had already ridden with this person. Like this was not an entirely unfamiliar person. They were like,
true.
We think there's something sus about you, and great, you've just put your cards on the table. And yeah, we're able to see the bigger picture. If you just go up to it... No?
It's not there was something sus about her. She let them in. She was like, here's me. I'm an assassin. Do you want this assassin to help save the kingdom? Or are you going to lock me out and the kingdom dies? Make your choice. And they're like, we'll go with the assassin.
Right. And that is substantially different than being like, hey, I'm a menial ground crewman. Can I take you for a joyride?
As far as they're concerned, an assassin is a menial crewman. I really feel like anybody hops in there and you convince the spirits of the machine that it is in their best interest and the interest of their kingdom to let you pilot it, they will.
How can you say that when you just said that, like, she had to open herself up and be like, I'm an assassin, here, check out my mind.
that was a negative thing.
I think that was a bonus.
They knew she was an imposter. They didn't have suspicions that she was an imposter. They knew she was an imposter.
By that point, yeah. But I feel like you go, hey, I'm an imperial assassin, and they go, okay, I kind of get what that means. That's a person from authority, if not a person of authority, you know?
That's true, but... So you think it was about like personal hierarchy? You think if she'd literally been a farmhand who knew how to pilot, they would have been like, we'd rather let the kingdom burn than let you pilot us?
I think they would have said... Okay, so I think you're presenting that position as the kingdom would have definitely burned. I don't know that if Sycorax gets in Jester here, she makes the saving play and wins the day. So I think the knight could have gone, no, you don't know what you're doing. You're just as likely to get us killed as you are to do any real good. We'll just sit here and wait it out.
Right.
And see what happens.
Possible.
I think it's a very realistic option when presented with an inexperienced driver. But the assassin already knew how to drive rudimentarily.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it, certainly.
Yeah, so you can't just say, well, anyone can logic it into helping if you say the kingdom's at stake.
I think you can.
Okay.
I think they decide, and if they decide to let you pilot, you can at that point.
Okay.
Like, it's not that they are somehow beholden to the reciting of genealogy or the candles or the ceremony.
No.
It's not some kind of a lock that opens the key.
I'm not arguing that it is a technical requirement for you to recite 4 hours of your father's lineage and make sure you don't say the people who got excommunicated, right?
That was a great moment, yeah.
I'm just saying that if the position is that you can talk these people into helping you still need to present an argument that is better than just like, well, the kingdom is in danger. You need to come...
You have to convince them it's in danger. You can't just say it.
They're war machines. Everything they do is danger. right? Like, I think there needs to be a
Well,
little bit more than that.
does she say that Leviathan is back?
Ooh, maybe.
Because I think that might have been a huge part of it.
Right, because Leviathan's like, well, Jester's my squire, right? Like, that's
Right.
the open secret, is that they're bonded together somehow.
But additionally, if Leviathan's back, that means the kingdom's in danger because Leviathan only shows up to defend the realm.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's good evidence that whatever's going on, it's a big deal and we should probably be out there.
It's true. I mean, it's circumstantial. I don't know if she did say that, though.
Right. I don't either.
You're going to need to look it up because I can't Google for audio cues.
I know, but it says Leviathan like 1,000 times in this book, so...
That's true.
I'll give it a try real quick.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of said it more than like 60 times in that book.
Right? 36 times.
36
Not
times.
bad.
Yeah. What is the duty of a wounded knight?
Yeah. Strider Row. Spirit Choir.
So I do...
Is a lot of Leviathan.
I do really like that this guy, this pilot of Jester, is like, he's the last in the Fang line, a line of people who have access to like a superhero knight. And
Yeah.
his dad selfishly goes off and dies before he's able to tell him everything. And he's like, why did you only tell me to rise above my blood? What does that mean? And he's like,
And he's
just
like been tormenting him for like 30 years. Yeah. And then he figures it out and he's Batman. It's nice. It's kind of like Batman.
It's kind of like Batman. People know there's a man under the mask. They assume Leviathan is a knight that pilots itself. So,
They do.
It's a little
It's
different.
very fun.
It's a little different.
Okay, I think I found it.
Okay.
No, this is after she's piloting it. They're chanting Leviathan.
Oh, okay. Well, that means you're close. Just go back a page.
Yeah, what's back? No. No, do my search again. Oh my god.
Damage.
Well, it's like a new chapter. So it's like she convinces them and then the chapter ends and then they do a bunch of other stuff and then she's writing Jester, right?
Right.
Or piloting Jester to be more specific about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it does not really matter.
It doesn't matter.
No. It is fair that if you go, hey, Robin, Batman's over there. Do you want me to take you to him? Robin's probably going to agree to let you ride on his shoulders.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. So I guess the larger question here, though, is, again, there's not an answer to this, but, like, what the hell is going on inside that night? You know what I mean? Is it just code? Is it just they suck parts of the brain out and digitize it and dump it in a barrel somewhere with all the other personalities that they have from the previous pilots? Or is it like some mystical stuff where it's actually spirits?
All three, all at once. Who knows?
Yeah, right? Exactly. And that's what I said. There's not an answer to it. It's a fun, flavored thing that's going on in Warhammer, and nobody's ever going to answer that question.
No one's even going to try.
No.
Ugh.
You could try. You could definitely try.
No, you could certainly try. I don't necessarily know that you're going to get a good answer. It's better to not know.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Better to not know.
I'm just saying, this is the first time that I've seen somebody kind of impose their own will on the machine spirit and get away with it.
Ooh.
And I mean, you're right. She did all this stuff before, and they already knew who she was, and like she'd done all the steps. But it's the first time that the machine spirit's like, "Screw you, no," and a person's like, "Actually, yes," and they're like, "You know what? You're right."
She was still able to browbeat the machine spirit. Yeah, at the end of the day.
Yeah, which I've never seen before. I don't know how often that happens.
Probably not a lot.
Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a good point. It's an interesting point.
Anyway, I've always liked it. It was I remember the first time we read something where the machine spirit in a Titan, I think, was invoked.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the concept that the pilot's like, the machine is fighting with me. It wants to do its own thing, and I have to kind of keep it in line, or it's going to run off and like screw up the war plans, you know?
Right.
So yeah, so I like that aspect of it too.
It's fun. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the good guy.
I did like this series in the book. Well, just so they they attempt to assassinate the king. Turns out he's been dead inside his knight for a while.
Right.
Not like years, but at least a few weeks, right?
Right. And so there's a conclave of all of the house heads being like, well, we need to elect a new king. And
Yep.
I think I know where you're going, which is where the assassins go, okay, now we just need to kill everyone in the path towards undecided candidate. And we get like a montage of them just being like, assassination here, assassination there. Everyone gets an assassination. It's great.
It is great. I'm kind of annoyed that they felt the need to make us dislike the candidates for the position before they got killed. It's like, you don't need to be bad people. We're killing them because they're in the way. Like, it's not because they're bad. You don't have to do this. It's like this person thinks of peasants as animals and they're rocks under her feet. And it's like, we don't need her to be this bad. Like, we really don't.
Given everything that we've seen in the first, 70% of the book before we get there, all of these nobles are bad. They all think of the peasants under their feet like rocks.
We can assume. Yes.
They literally talk at one point where it's like, oh yes, Dominion's a very stable world. I mean, there's peasant uprisings every other year, but so what? We've got knights and they have stones.
Yes. Yeah, and it's great too because the conclave eventually figures out that every time they agree on a name, that's when they get killed.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like trying to avoid saying the name out loud because somebody's slipping it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But really, one of the assassins embedded a microphone into the elbow of one of the people in the conclave. Yeah, these guys, they're up against some pretty heavy hitters, unfortunately. They didn't really stand a chance.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
That's good. I do like that we see like the negotiations between the two houses being like, well, okay, I don't think it should be this guy because he's weak on the Imperial issue. Like, she's very clearly like, no, we need someone who can stand up for us in the Imperium, right? She's like borderline secessionist, but she eventually goes, well, okay, but you are giving me most of like this huge region of land. It's like, okay, so you're willing to sell out your values for material gain right now. Good to know.
Yeah. There are several candidates who say that. They're like, boy, this sure goes against my beliefs, but also I get a lordship somewhere, so awesome. Yeah. But that's politics, though. People do that all the time. That's real. Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. I just thought it was a nice touch.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, and there's kind of a story where the three assassins learn to get along, and sure, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, we learned that Rath has a messed up shoulder, and microdosing of polymorphine can make it feel a little bit better. And so
you can shoot straight at least. That's good.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the moments in the book where one of the assassins is manipulating the other one, and the other one knows they're being manipulated.
Right. Where they're like, oh, we should kill Rakan before we get there. I should kill him now. And I'm like, oh, really? You think we should kill him now too? Huh.
Okay.
The other assassin was like, maybe he could be useful,
Well, I think that moment specifically, though, is they go, we should kill him now because they're trying to, like, reverse psychology him into keeping him alive.
Right.
And he just responds, yeah, let's do it. Let's kill him now. And then they look at him and they're like, how long have you known that we're trying to manipulate you?
It's great.
It is very good. Ugh. And then they do a fake out death with one of the assassins, but then she's fine. And it's like, all right, can we not? Really? We couldn't kill anyone in this book?
That's at the very, very end.
Yeah, it's still a fake out death.
It is, but it's mostly just sequel bait, which is still not out.
Yes, and that's true. It's definitely sequel bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And then the Dominion, the planet, eventually figures out maybe a better way to rule other than this built-in intergenerational hatred between two parties.
better, but still not good. Like then
Nope.
their new solution is to just force a political marriage between the two houses and have them serve as joint ruler.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
one of them goes out and pursues wars off-world, and the other one stays home and defends it.
right.
Right.
Okay, so great. The king or queen at home just has total control at home, and the one at war is just off doing war. It's like, okay,
Right.
so how do you really decide which one gets to just stay at home and have all the power? You know?
I don't know, but it sounds like if they're both given super awesome knights, they don't really care.
Well, I mean, the lady kept her own knight. She had a knight paladin, and he was like, "Yeah, well, you should just like hang on to it, but I'll like introduce you to the family secret."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you know.
yeah. That's another example of a machine spirit. Leviathan's like, okay, cool. So you're in the family by blood. Do you swear to defend the homeland? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, done deal. We're good.
It's not even by blood. He's like, I recognize you as
No.
part of the Fang family line by marriage. Like he's
Yes.
snippy about it.
Yeah, but then he's totally fine with it. He's like, do you believe in defending our people? And she's like, sure do. And he's like, great, you're in.
Yeah, that is true.
Anywho, it was good. It was fun.
It's a fun book. Highly recommend.
Is it time for the wheel?
Oh, the wheel. It is time for the wheel.
Let's go.
So here we have the wheel. Full screen it. Anything you're particularly looking forward to on the wheel?
Nope. Let's spin it.
There's a lot of build up for nope.
I know. I was reading. And I'm like, yeah. I don't know. Nothing really stands out.
Vaults of Terror series. It's the Inquisition.
Inquisition is back.
It's back, baby.
Do we know any characters in this one?
No.
If it's at Terra, probably not. I don't think we know any Inquisitors at Terra.
It is at Terra. Yeah.
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 Okay.
So, Vaults of Terror. What's the first book called? So I believe this is a trilogy. So we should look to see if there's an omnibus.
Yep.
By Chris Raitt. The first one I think is called The Hollow Mountain. Nope, that's the second book. The Carrion Throne is the first one.
Oh yeah, that was on the screenshot. Carrion Throne.
Yeah. Doesn't look like there's an omnibus available. So you might have to buy 3 books.
Okie doke. Amazon.com.
Oh, hold on.
Mm.
There is a Simon and Schuster webpage for the Vaults of Terror omnibus. So maybe.
Amazon says there is a Vaults of Terra omnibus. It is available in paperback.
Okay, but not digital.
For $20. So it would save me $10.
It would.
But it wouldn't get delivered until Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. It's not out yet.
Oh, okay. I mean, we can put this book on hold until the omnibus is out. It would save you money.
Yeah, that's fine. I can roll.
Okay.
Carrion Throne it is.
Yeah.
We just had a discussion about using the term Carrion Throne in the introduction of all these books.
Right. So that reminded me of something. I was talking to another friend about fan fiction, and I was like, don't really get fan fiction. It's a bit cringe, right?
It can be really good, but most of the time it sucks.
Right. So there's a lore tuber who, for like his 40,000 subscriber special, because he does all his videos in the style that he's actually one of the persons working for Gulliman recording the true histories, right? Like he was working with the Historia Veritas or whatever.
Okay.
He for his 40K special, he wrote an interview with an Inquisitor who like comes to check on him and make sure he's like not spreading any of the truths that better remain hidden, you know?
Okay, that's fun. Yeah.
It's fun. It's a piece of fan fiction since how it came up. But in it, the conversation with the Inquisitor ends with her being like, "Oh, I found this among one of your co-workers. Could you read it, please?" And it was that. It was the Emperor sits as a Carrion Lord on the Golden Throne of Terror. He took that section and pretended it was like one of his co-workers, and he's like, "You killed a man for this?" And she's like, "I've burnt cities for less." You know?
Aha! I was right.
So it's just something that came up that I thought you might be interested.
Yeah,
it's fun
because it's weird. It's just like from an Imperial perspective, he's not the Carrion Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what the enemies of the Imperium say, right?
Yeah.
That's verbiage that they would use.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I guess Game Workshop might not be Imperials.
Guess they might not.
What a shock.
Despite, the vast majority of all of the works they've ever done being Imperial based.
Oh, sure.
All right, cool. Got it. Is here.
Excellent.
See if the app has it.
Oh, right.
Got it. Done.
Erasmus Crowell is the Inquisitor we'll be following.
Okay. Is this one like a nice guy underneath all of the assholeness, like every other Inquisitor I've read?
Do you think Eisenhorn is a nice guy?
He cares about his people.
Yeah, he also sees them
Not
highly as tools.
Yeah.
And puts that before their personal well-being.
Generally, that's true.
He stuffs demons into his best friends.
Well, after they're dead, he sure does.
I think that had to be live bodies.
No, wait, hold on. There's a couple times this happened.
Yeah, which time?
All right, fine. As he is now, he's definitely more so. Didn't start out that way.
Alrighty.
All right, good. Let's wrap it up.
Put a bow on it?
Yes?
Yeah, wrap it up.
Put a bow on it. All right, sounds good. Thanks for hanging out for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, streamed live at twitch.tv/Somicron. We talk about Warhammer and video games and anime and all sorts of nerdy stuff. You know that already, but we'll be back in a week with more. You can watch the VODs at youtube.com/@Somicron. You can also support the podcast by going to patreon.com/Somicron or by buying merch at falconpaladin.store. We got Bovine here. Thanks for being here, Bovine and Ultra. And Polly Walnuts. Thanks for keeping it lively out there. And yeah, back in a week. We'll see what book. Well, I guess we're still doing this series next week.
Right.
Not a book that will be unexpected next week. But if you want to read along with us and then maybe have questions or conversation of your own in the chat, feel free to do that. So,
yeah, please do.
Carrion Lord this week.
Yep. It's classic.
All right, that's it. Thanks for being here. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.